fun, man. 2 hours of hard work. What do you think? Should we call her quits and maybe play a game or something?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what do you think we should play?
Heads up.
Heads up?
Good choice.
Right.
I got it right here.
Got it?
Find
Cool.
it.
Yep.
You want me to go first?
Do you know how to play?
No.
So we got to give clues to whatever thing is on Eric's
Yeah.
head. So it'll say a
Oh,
word.
It's
So we
about
can't
the
say that word.
holidays.
Alright.
So
Alright.
I can't see it.
And then he has to guess based on what we say.
Alright.
So this is kind of a reward for you working your tail off today and doing good work.
Can't read it though.
It's a Christmas
This-
song. Or I
yeah.
said Christmas. Skip it.
Nice job, Carlos.
I broke the rules.
It's a
Peanut butter. What?
No, not peanut butter.
It's an item for a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
A
Usually
toy.
get yep, and then one of these. 10 up.
Toy soldier.
Yep.
Got her. You can do this one. Explain it to him.
It's a tree.
It's not a tree, but it's
Oh.
something you
Hang.
from the
Tree.
Ornament.
Yep.
Yeah?
yeah.
Alright, so in that last video, that was an example of the guys working on the 80-20 ratio. What the 80-20 ratio refers to is trying to keep that balance in therapy where 20% of the time we're pushing our clients outside of their comfort zone to help them grow and learn new skills, and then 80% of the time, well, it's still therapeutic, it's more fun or neutral activities that are less stressful for the clients to work on so that they're not getting burnt out on therapy and the different skills that they're working on. So I'd like to talk with Carlos a little bit about that concept and how he applies it and how he works through some of those situations. My first question for you is about, in that video, you guys were playing a game and it was fun, but at the same time, there were still therapeutic things happening.
Right.
So I guess what I want to hear from you is, like, how do you make downtime therapeutic? How do you make that 80% of the time that seems fun and like you're just hanging out, but...
Sure. Yeah, well, with Tyrone there, we played the game, but Tyrone was very hesitant to participate. A lot of his problem-solving and critical thinking skills, you could see that the processing time takes a while for him. So for him giving clues for that one object, I had to prompt him to do it, or there was other times that he would mimic me as soon as I was done. And I noticed that, so I had him do one independently rather than me sitting there doing the whole thing for the game and Tyrone just kind of spectating.
Sure. Okay, great. So, what are some other examples of things that you maybe would do to, like in that video, Tyrone earned that as a reward because he had worked hard beforehand. What are some other activities that you maybe would do with clients like him?
Sure. Anything that we cover in leisure skills, so things that are like, his interest, other things that we've pushed that are maybe our interests that he might like, depending on how many things that he has for his leisure skills. If it's nice outside, get him outside and active, since a lot of the population that we work with tend not to get outside and are stuck with technology and video games and that stuff. So even just a walk or like playing disc golf or going and throwing a football or baseball, something like that. Those are things that we commonly do with our older crew.
Sure. So if you're going on a walk or playing catch or whatever, what are you working on therapeutically during those
Well,
times?
besides leisure skills, we're also working on communication skills, social skills. We talk about home life, so even just breaking stuff down, and sometimes some emotional regulation if things don't work out quite the way that they want it to.
Sure.
So I think it's kind of just that natural environment stuff and taking it as it comes and working with what you get from the client's end.
Sure. So when evaluating the 80-20 ratio to make sure you have it in balance, what kind of things do you do to make sure, or how can you tell if it's out of balance?
Sure. I check the feedback I get from the client is the first sign. If you're constantly pushing, you're going to see some pushback from the client on their attitude and their emotions. So just kind of finding that balance of, hey, we're still pushing you, but you're still in a decent mood in order to perform, attend, or contribute socially to the group.
Sure. So sometimes it's impossible to do the ratio. Say the client's having a really bad day, they're really struggling, and as we know from an ABA perspective, we can't back down from behaviors. So you'd have to go through that process. What do you do in situations like that?
Well, first you just have to stick it out, and then once they complete whatever task or get over that, then you have to go ahead and do something that, once it's diffused, go ahead and do that more 80 part rather than the 20 since you just push through it. So in a 3-hour shift, if they had a 2-hour outbreak, that one last hour should kind of be a little less, and you're still not even hitting that ratio when it comes down to it. But
Sure. Okay. So as you can see, the 80-20 ratio is something that is going to change based on the client and the situation, and how you apply that is going to be really different. But at the same time, we're trying to use the natural environment and everyday situations to teach in a fun way that isn't too stressful, in that 80%, and then making sure that we don't forget about the 20% as well, so that we are pushing them outside of their comfort zone and helping them to do things that they otherwise wouldn't do. All right, that's all for this video.